Good morning. Well, I'm finally getting her done. All right, this is the little seed spreader that Chelsea brought home yesterday, and this is our winter wheat. And I think I'm gonna turn it up just a little bit more. I want it to come out pretty heavy. I want to walk pretty heavy, or pretty slow. Yeah, I walk heavy too. But the goal for this is not only to just have a cover crop on these beds for the winter, but also to be a weed deterrent. Since these beds were just built, the weeds will not start coming up until springtime anyway. There's not a whole lot of winter type weeds that's going to get ahead of me. So this will come up this winter, and the weeds will be smothered out. Whatever weed seeds are there will be smothered out in the spring. And yeah, that'll give us a really good start. Looks like at the number I've chosen, I'm going to take one of these little containers full for every row. Maybe even just about one container full every row. Come on. Might have to put a little bit more on the end of that row. But look how it melted. So the tops of the rows are still insulated with the snow, and the pathways are mostly melted off. I think that's odd, but you know, whatever. But I think I've explained this fairly thoroughly, but any of y'all that might not have joined us before, what I'll be doing actually with the seeding of this, after I get the rows themselves covered with the winter wheat, and the winter wheat, yeah, will also be shooting off into the walkways. But after I get them sown completely, I will take some black plastic and lay down on top of the rows, the growing surface. And then we got some Kentucky 31 fescue that I'll use the seed spreader, and spread in these walkways. And the reason for the black plastic, it's not going to be there, but just long enough to actually spread the seed. That'll keep the fescue from shooting over onto our beds, our growing surface. I don't want that at all. But yeah, hopefully then we'll have this spring, we'll have, you know, some winter wheat still growing in the pathways, but that will protect the fescue as it starts coming up. And then when the fescue is up at a decent size, we will mow it. We'll begin mowing. But about 2 weeks before we're ready to plant our little seedlings in these beds, we will exterminate the cover crop by just squashing it over with a board, walking on a board, or some kind of extermination measure. We might even end up weed eating. I'm not sure. We haven't decided for certain. We'll try and see. We'll have to experiment, see what works best. But exterminate the winter wheat, and then lay the black plastic over them again for about 2 weeks to finish just killing it off, and so that it will just begin to decompose and be nice and soft. Then we can go through and plant our little seedlings directly into that. That will leave the cover crop still there, what's left, I mean the residue of the cover crop, and it will serve so many purposes. With the roots still being in the ground, it's going to be a good way of just softening, keeping the soil nice and loose. And of course that feeds the microbes, and the microbes feeds everything else. And then also the seedlings themselves will be protected when it rains. It'll protect the mud from splashing up on them, which can cause all kinds of disease. But it will keep the dirt from, or the soil from compacting when it rains, because it's kind of like a little cushion, a little barrier. And it will also help to provide, just like any kind of mulch, it will help to keep the soil more moist. And so those are all really good things. It's going to be a little bit more work in the beginning, and we haven't done it this way before, so I'm not sure how much more work, but there's a lot of people out there that are natural no-till. We're not no-till exactly, but this will be kind of a no-till, maybe like a in-between. We're an in-between no-till and till. But we're going to see how it works. And I'm willing to put in the extra effort at the beginning of the season to just keep everything in a healthier state throughout the season. So yeah, stick with us and we'll see how all of this goes and what progresses. But it's kind of hard holding this camera and doing what I'm doing at the same time. So I'm going to say goodbye for now, and I'll talk to y'all when we're completely finished. Love you much. Bye-bye.